Sony Pictures Entertainment has suffered a devastating cyber attack, which has seen confidential emails, unreleased movies and sensitive information leaked online. I'm joined by technology editor David Gilbert to talk through the attack. It's been suspected it was North Korea, and the Sony have now announced that they are cancelling the Christmas premiere of the interview. Just who is behind the attack though? The
narrative that North Korea is behind the attack is great. It's something the media and readers and audiences around the world really kind of have picked up on, and they love it. But sadly, it's very, very unlikely that North Korea has anything to do with this attack. Initial emails from the attackers, who call themselves Guardians of Peace, or a mystery hacker group, made no mention of the interview. It was reports in the media which linked the attack on Sony Pictures and a complaint made by North Korea back in July, and put two and two together and came up with 25. And from there it kind of spiraled, and the attackers picked up on this, and then they started mentioning the interview, and it's culminated in the fact that the interview has now been cancelled. And it's absolutely amazing that this has spiraled out of control and Sony Pictures has capitulated in such a way. But there are lots of technical details which suggest that it's not North Korea. US officials have said North Korea was centrally involved, but the FBI and Sony themselves have failed to actually point the blame at North Korea, which tells a lot, because they're the ones that are investigating the matter at the moment.
So if it isn't North Korea, then who is behind these attacks?
Well, that's a $64,000 question. It's kind of, no one really knows. Guardians of Peace is the name of the hacker group. That's pretty much all we know about them for definite at the moment. There's lots of different theories out there. There are some suggestions that it's another nation state, such as China or Russia, who are looking to kind of undermine the US by attacking one of their big pillars in Hollywood. But again, there isn't really any evidence to suggest that this is the case. They do have the technical notes to do this, but there isn't any evidence to link it to China or Russia. There are other suggestions that it could be Iran, but again, they're kind of tenuous, because Iran and North Korea do have quite close links, but again, the evidence just isn't there. Some have suggested it could be anonymous, the hacktivist group who are doing it for the lulz, to try and, because they previously attacked Sony Pictures back in 2011. But again, there's no hard evidence. One theory, which to me seems the most plausible, is that it's a disgruntled employee or ex-employee of Sony Pictures, that they would have had intimate and deep knowledge of Sony Pictures security, and that would have been given them access, and the hackers completely wiped huge amounts of the Sony Pictures system, which means that the person, whoever was involved, has quite detailed knowledge of the systems. And the attack wasn't financially motivated, because if it was financially motivated, they would have either been looking for some sort of ransom from Sony Pictures, or they wouldn't have leaked the details that they have. They would have actually used those details for financial gain, and that hasn't been the case.
Sony Pictures have certainly suffered. They've already lost millions because of this attack, and that capitulation has resulted in them cancelling the interview, as you said, which is more money down the drain. And just what precedent does this set for all companies in the future when it comes to cyber attacks?
Yeah, this is probably the most worrying aspect of the whole thing, is Sony's capitulation, and they're giving in to the hackers. It's essentially sending out a message to hackers and cyber criminals all over the world to say, if you attack us, we will give in to your demands, without much of a fight. Sony Pictures, the security that they had in place obviously wasn't good enough. That's likely the case for pretty much all companies around the world. And criminals and hackers are getting much more sophisticated at getting into systems and targeting specific companies. So that's a real worry, that because this has now happened, hackers around the world are going to be looking at it and going, okay, who will I attack next?
Well, to follow our coverage of the Sony Pictures hack, go to our website, ibtimes.co.uk.